Well, we've talked many times on this channel about the decisions that Disney has made the last few years, especially being very questionable, not only in the theme parks, but as a brand as a whole. And I do think it has been and is really starting to affect the theme parks more off the brand damage that Disney has done. But there's really never been any hard, numbers or proof of this because, again, it's just a feel thing. It's hard to know really how much it has hurt or hasn't hurt them without looking at any data. But it seems now we do have some data, at least according to a survey out there. So we're going to read through this. This is from Rasmussen Reports here, and then we have an article from that Park Place that kind of delves into this a bit more. So we're just going to read through it and give some thoughts on it. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And again, this is Rasmussen Reports. 47% say Disney has gotten worse. Says the movies and TV shows produced by the Walt Disney Company aren't as good as they used to be, according to almost half of Americans. The latest Rasmussen Reports National Telephone and Online Survey finds that 47% of American adults say entertainment from the Disney Company is worse than they remember in the past. Just 16% believe the Disney's entertainment has gotten better, while 29% think it's about the same as it always has been. And to read the rest of this article on Rasmussen, I had to sign up. I've never read their stuff before, so I don't have any reason to do that at this point. So we're just going to hop over here to that Park Place, and they've got a little bit more info on here. So the survey conducted from January 5th to 7th, 2025, sampled 1,408 American adults and revealed a startling trend. Nearly a quarter of respondents, 23%, admitted to avoiding Disney movies in the past year because of the company's political leanings. An additional 9% were unsure, bringing the total potential loss of an audience to 32%. On the surface, Disney might take solace in the fact that 68% of respondents said they had not avoided the company's movies. However, when scaled to Disney's reported streaming audience of 157 million subscribers for its ad-supported tiers among Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, the implications are staggering. If 32% of that audience, approximately 51.8 million people, chose not to watch Disney films due to politics, that financial loss is enormous. Surveys and polling are not completely foolproof here, but there have been some surveys talking about the money side of things and people that view like going into debt to go to Disney and like how people view things. And like we're starting to see this a little bit. And it's something that, again, I've talked about before. You don't have any hard evidence of it other than the fact, like for us, like we've run a theme park, Disney World Universal Studios podcast for going on 8 years now. And, with our audience there, you can definitely see a shift in the way that people view Disney parks and the way they visit Disney parks through that time period. Granted, that's a smaller audience that you're looking at there, but it's something you can feel and see even with people that are into the Disney parks or have been historically. But on the movie side and things like that, I think it's very evident when you look at a lot of the Disney Plus shows. You look at a lot, not all. Obviously, Disney had a good year at the box office last year, but you look, the last few years, Disney movies have not fared that well, and there's some coming up this year that may not be faring as well either. It says the financial fallout of Disney's politics. Using the average U.S. movie ticket price of $10.70 in 2024, the 51.8 million viewers Disney potentially alienated translates to a loss of $558.5 million in annual movie ticket sales. This figure represents over $500 million in missed revenue, a devastating blow for any company. That's a lot of money. Moreover, the actual losses are likely far higher when factoring in premium ticket prices for IMAX, Dolby, 4DX, and 3D screenings, which command significantly higher fees. Additionally, Disney's total potential audience is likely far larger than the sample size of people who can reasonably assume are or were Disney fans. These numbers paint a bleak picture for Disney, once heralded as a bastion of family-friendly entertainment. The company's pivot to politically charged narratives and identity-driven content is clearly alienating a substantial portion of its audience. A misstep is with serious financial repercussions. I mean, to be fair to Disney, they're not the only ones that have done this. We're seeing a lot of companies back off this stuff now, going to act like they didn't, get into any of these things and really just trying to act like it never happened and move along. But you're seeing this where I think a lot of these companies got sold into the fact that this was the way forward to play into these things, to be divisive, but Disney being probably the most prominent because it is Disney. I mean, Disney is a different company than most of these other entertainment companies or whatever companies out there, but they're not the only ones. But again, they've had a lot of the highlights because of, the fight with Florida and things like that. So it's gotten a lot more highlighted from them. And I think their backlash from the people that have historically been real Disney fans has been much more out in the open versus some other companies. But again, Disney is not the only one that has done this either. The Rasmussen survey provides further insights into the audience demographics and the growing divide in Disney's appeal. The survey's sample group consisted of 47% men and 53% women, reflecting a nearly even gender split. Politically, 34% of respondents identified as Democrats, 29% as Republicans, and 37% as other, including independents and those unaffiliated with a major party. Breaking down the data by gender, the survey revealed that 28% of the respondents who avoided Disney due to politics were men, compared to 19% who were women. This suggests that men are significantly more likely to reject Disney's offerings based on its perceived political agenda. From a political standpoint, Republicans and independents are driving the negative sentiment as Disney's left-leaning content has increasingly alienated conservative audiences. I mean, those numbers don't surprise me very much. You know, for the most part, when you're talking the Disney brand, I mean, Disney historically has been rather a girls brand. That's actually why they bought Star Wars and Marvel, was because they knew they needed, or they, at the time, they said they wanted more, you know, boy brand things. And then they spent the years creating Star Wars and Marvel trying to turn them into girl brands, kind of, which is kind of ironic.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
But that is initially why they bought those, is because they wanted to diversify more out of just being perceived as princesses and being just a girl brand, was to be able to have more of these, you know, things like Marvel and Star Wars to offer. And they say self-inflicted wound. Disney's identity crisis began when it shifted from creating universally beloved content to pushing divisive social and political narratives. Once synonymous with timeless tales like The Lion King and Cinderella, the company now faces criticism for abandoning its core audience, families seeking wholesome, apolitical entertainment. Instead, Disney has courted controversy with content that many perceive as incompatible with traditional family values. The financial implications of the Disney politics shift extend beyond box office losses. Disney's reputation as a safe, family-friendly brand has taken a hit, with the survey indicating growing distrust among a significant segment of the population. This distrust could have long-term consequences, not just in ticket sales, but also in streaming subscriptions, merchandise, and theme park attendance. When you're talking long term, I mean, for the most part, people have short memories, and we're already seeing. I mean, Disney. It's been very publicized, but you know, Disney going in with Inside Out 2 and making it reportedly from people that worked in that movie very adamant that any, you know, gay themes were taken out of that movie, and there was no, you know, they didn't want anybody to be able to even remotely think that Riley, the girl in that movie, was gay or anything. And you even heard that from, you know, movies after that. That Disney's been very adamant about these things being taken out because they've gotten the message. And obviously they had a lot of bombs at the box office, and it seems like perhaps on the movie side they're starting to realize to stay out of these things. And really speaking, I guess for myself, you know, I don't want to see any politics in a good show or movie. I just want to see a good story. And I think that's the thing. You don't have to be political to just be tired of seeing certain things be put into movies. You, like, if I want to watch a Star Wars movie or a show, I want to see a Star Wars show. I don't want to see something that is clearly just a vehicle to drive an agenda one way or the other. Even if I agree with the agenda, I don't want to see it in the shows I'm watching. I want to escape to watch Star Wars or Marvel or whatever the case may be. And I think that's how most people feel. Obviously, some people like the stuff that has the whatever they feel like is the right agenda to have in there. But I think most people, especially when we talk about families and kids, and I know with our kids, like there are just some things we're not going to take our kids to go see. And there's a lot of people that feel the same way. And if you can't trust that somebody's making a movie or a show that is just how it, you know, when you're talking about Disney, just used to be family friendly, nothing offensive, has good messages, and you can go in there, enjoy it. Families can, you know, get it on movies, watch it on TV. Don't have to worry about it. But now you're in an era where a lot of people, you got to sit there and think, what's in it? Do we have to worry about it? And I think that's the thing that's hurt Disney a lot, is just the fact that it used to be a no-brainer that if there's a Disney movie, you're like, yeah, we can take the kids to go see it, no problem. And now that that's not the case, I'm not saying they can't get it back, but it's sort of like trust in a relationship. It takes a long time to build that up, and once you ruin that trust, you can earn it back, but it's not easy, and it takes a while. And you have to prove to the person or the people that you lost trust with that they can trust you again. So you're not going to get it back after just 1, 2, 3 movies. It's going to be a long period of time to rebuild that trust. And I really think what Disney would be better off doing is having Bob Iger make a statement and basically saying like, hey, we recognize we made mistakes, which he has to a degree. He has said they want to stay out of politics, they want to be apolitical, but he hasn't come out and just said, hey, we're sorry for how this went. We want to, provide good family entertainment, and going forward, we make a promise to you that our focus is going to be on storytelling and the values that Disney has always had. I think that would go a long ways, but they're more than likely not going to do that because Disney never admits to fault ever. They'll change what they're doing and they'll hear the feedback, but they'll never openly admit to a fault. But I think that would go a long way. So I think eventually they can build back that trust if they continue to not, do the divisive things they've been doing, especially the past 5, but easily 5 to 10 years. And they say, a warning for Hollywood. Disney's struggles serve as a cautionary tale for Hollywood at large. Audiences are increasingly weary of being preached to and are voting with their wallets. Companies that prioritize political messaging over quality storytelling risk alienating the very people who sustain them. For Disney, the path forward is clear. To regain its audience and restore its legacy, the company must return to its roots, creating magical, universally appealing content that transcends political divides with an entirely new leadership team. The alternative is to continue down a path of diminishing returns, alienating the families that once made it a global entertainment powerhouse until all but most the loyal investors jump ship. I agree. This is by M. Montanaro, so he writes some really good stuff on this website here. I agree with what he's saying right there. I mean, the thing about this is, in a time period as well, like if you look at Disney historically, it was always, it was with Walt at least, it was very much like looking to the stars in the future, being inspirational. In a time period where, I don't think I'm breaking any news here, that it's rather divisive many times in this country. And it would go over very well with a lot of audiences, a lot of people to have, unifying messages, things that are universal themed stories, like things that, again, Disney used to do, but them delving into the things that they have and really being divisive, that has also bled into the theme parks. And I always said eventually this would. And I think a lot of the things that you're seeing in the theme parks and the attendance kind of, hemorrhaging a little bit. You're talking about the profits being the lowest in the theme parks in 2 years over there. I think you're starting to see it hit the theme parks later than it hit the movie side of things. Because the movie side, you can make an argument. They may have already corrected ship, or at least they have recognized on some of this stuff that they need to not do the things they were doing. Because you're seeing, again, Inside Out 2 and some of these other shows and movies, that they're taking out these themes that are divisive and basically families are saying they don't want it. But I think you're starting to see this bleed over into the theme parks now as people have lost trust with Disney. And again, this survey here saying over 30% of people view Disney, negatively compared to how they used to. I mean, that does equal lost money on some level. And I think for a company like Disney who wants to make money, I mean, look at the theme parks. They are wanting to make money at every turn they can. I don't see them looking at this as something that they don't care about. I think that more than likely a lot of these companies, they got convinced some way or the other that this all was the way to go. More than likely, it was looking at social media metrics plus, people that they hire bringing in, having a certain viewpoint. And most of them got sold that this was the way forward. This was going to be profitable, and they get down that road, and it's not. And then they're kind of stuck here because you have also, employees that have a viewpoint that they want to push as well. And I really think what it comes down to is, I believe this about all companies. I don't think any of them care one way or the other on an issue. I really don't. I don't think Bob Iger cares one bit about whether it's right-leaning or left-leaning. I think Bob Iger cares about making money, and I think that's all these CEOs. And they will play whatever side that they think is profitable for them. Look at Mark Zuckerberg with Meta and Facebook. All of a sudden, he's flipped the script, and he's completely different than he was 4 years ago. These guys don't care. These guys just want to make money. They want to be on what they perceive the right side of things. So I don't look at any CEO or any company as a place to look at, say, oh, where should my values come from? Because at the end of the day, their values are money. So I think they all thought they're going to make money in this way. It's turned out that that's not the case. And as things are changing, they're trying to change with them because they want to make money. So I think at the end of the day, even if they play to certain people's sensibilities, they like, they agree with the mindset that Disney was taking during a period of time. I don't think they care. I think some of the employees feel that way, but Disney as a company does not care. They just want to make money. And I think this is why you're probably going to, you're starting to see some of the damage that was done here for the brand, and you're already seeing it somewhat being reversed in the movies and the shows and things. And I probably, more than likely, you're going to continue to see that. Now, I don't think this fixes the issues with Disney. I think they've had a lot of talent leave the company. I think the leadership is bad. And you're talking about the theme park side. I mean, Imagineering is nowhere near what it used to be. The parks, in my opinion, are some of the worst off I've seen them in a while in terms of the maintenance and just the ingenuity and the creativity in the theme parks. So there's a lot more issues with Disney than just some of the things they've delved into politically or ideologically. And I think one of the problems is talent and just strong leadership, but those do go hand in hand because strong leadership perhaps would not have allowed Disney to go down this path in the first place. But, according to the survey, there is some evidence here of that brand damage that I've often talked about, but I haven't really had any hard numbers to go off of here. But this does give us an idea. Again, it's not going to be completely perfect on this survey. There's probably somewhere around that number is where I was probably guessing. And it probably was higher years ago at this point, being at 30% or somewhere around there. It's a little lower than maybe I thought it would be. But again, you could see a little course correction already happening as Disney has kind of turned away from some of the recent movies with these things. So it could be something that if they continue to go on, they can, revamp some of this stuff, recoup some of that lost brand damage and things like that. But either way, I thought it was an interesting thing to look at here, and somebody went through and actually put some numbers to this and give us an idea on these potential brand damage that Disney has done. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments what you think about this. And until next time, we will see you in the parks.